ahead, Jack Kenna.
Hello and welcome back to the B Team Sports Podcast. I'm Jack Kenna, joined alongside Tyler Brewer, Grant Shear, and Trevor Burns. Now we have a big week of sports this week. We got some recaps and some previews for college football and the NFL. So I'm going to kick it over to Tyler to start us off.
Yeah, so, big weekend of college football, big weekend of football in general. We're going to start off with the college football side of things, and one thing I noticed this weekend was Georgia and Texas kind of separating themselves from the rest of the pack as really the top two teams in the country. Kind of some things to go off of that is can any team outside of the SEC realistically compete with those two teams? And, who else in the SEC has a shot? Or what team, I guess, in the country has a shot to get into that top two? What do we think the best top four teams are? I phrased that really bad, but
I think just seeing this weekend with Texas playing number 10 Michigan, they went into the Big House and just played a very good game, played a competitive game, and they blew the defending champions out. And so I think Texas is legit right there.
You're right. Texas is legit, but let's not get over ourselves. Michigan's not a top 10 team in the country.
See, I really wanted to believe that they were.
You know what? I feel like you have to give the credit to the defending national champions like that. There's a reason. Even if UConn didn't have a very strong team, they're still UConn. They still have Dan Hurley. They would definitely be a top 5 team in the preseason polls. It's just kind of unfortunate that this Michigan team is not like the team that we expected to see.
Well, the thing that you said is one of your main points was they still have Dan Hurley. Michigan doesn't have Jim Harbaugh. That's the main thing that I saw.
Yeah.
Try and put your mic a little closer to your mouth, because it's not really picking up well.
I don't know where that.
But yeah, I agree. It definitely matters when you don't have that coach, but you also gotta take into account though, Harbaugh was suspended majority of last season. The coach they have right now coached the majority of games last season. Sure, it was Harbaugh day to day, but to think I'm blanking on his name right now, so I'm saying I sound uneducated, but to think that Michigan doesn't have a very similar structure to what it was under Harbaugh is kind of crazy to assume.
They have quarterback issues.
Yes.
I feel
that was prevalent week 1. That was very obvious. Everybody saw it. And it was questionably even more obvious in week 2. Texas, it was not a sweat.
No, and I think a lot of teams right now in college football are kind of having quarterback issues. That's a big thing. Is we don't have a great QB class this year. You have DJU, not great. Carson Beck is a good game manager, but
is the number 1 quarterback selected?
Shador. It's still Shador.
You think?
It's Shador.
I think
put him on a good team.
I think he has the upside because of his age, because he is younger.
I like Quinn Ewers.
I like
Quinn Ewers is good.
Too.
I think Quinn Ewers is really good at football.
Yeah, that's who I see over Shador. Obviously Quinn.
Sorry, did you say Quinn Ewers earlier? Or did you say Carson Beck?
I said Carson Beck.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought you said. I don't like Carson Beck.
I don't like Carson Beck either.
I think everyone's giving Carson Beck Brock Purdy treatment right now.
That's what he is.
And that might be a little disrespectful. Oregon has had a very interesting first 2 weeks in college football. They did not look very good against Idaho, and they did not look very good against the other Idaho team, Boise State. What's going on there? Does anybody have any idea what's happening with Oregon football?
Look, Dylan Gabriel might not be the quarterback as advertised that we thought we were going to get this year. He had a chance to become one of the top quarterbacks in his class this season. We haven't really seen that out of him. Oregon altogether has just been kind of lackluster, but you have to give him credit. They are finding ways to win games right now. They're getting tested early against teams they shouldn't be tested against.
But they're finding a way to win.
Yes. Going into it, I had Boise State as a potential upset pick over Oregon. But Oregon played all 3 aspects of the game, and it was special teams that won it for Oregon. They had a punt return touchdown, a kick return touchdown, and then the game-winning field goal. So the fact that they're playing all 3 games or all 3 aspects of the game and winning close games, you can't really hold that against them too much. The AP poll does.
There are teams that aren't winning close games, so
you're right. And the AP poll holds it
round
against them.
Round of applause, Oregon.
Oregon's 2-0, but they've only dropped in the rankings since week 0.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Grant, you had something to say?
Well, I think looking at Boise State, obviously, I don't know if you guys had high expectations for him this year. I didn't really, kind of flew under my radar, but
Didn't know about.
Ashton Genty, the running back. Oh my gosh. I think we have it in the script here talking about if he can win the Heisman, but I mean, just looking at his stats through 2 games, one of which being Oregon. I don't know who they played week 1, but 459 rushing yards in 2 games. He's had 45 rushing attempts, so he's averaging 10.2 yards. And he has 9 rushing touchdowns. 9.
6 of those week 1 against Georgia Southern.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Insane.
If he
In
can keep
2
that up-
weeks.
Well, he had 192 yards just against Oregon, so he's averaging what 200 a game. You said he has 400.
Yeah.
Like
Grant, I'll let you finish your point, but I do have a question about Ashton Jeffrey. After you're done, Gentry. Sorry, yes.
No, you're
I've been a little slow this week.
I mean, he looks good. If he can keep this up, I think what's going to hurt him is he's on Boise State. He's not on a big team, and we've seen that throughout the years.
Even Travis Hunter.
Hunter's good players being on bad teams hurts him in the Heisman candidates, especially when you got teams like
it really
Georgia,
does.
where Carson Beck is playing SEC competition every single week.
And he's good.
Yeah.
He's good, yeah.
Do you guys think Gentry can sustain this level of success right now and potentially be a Heisman finalist, or do you think it's just kind of a great start to his season and he'll start getting game planned for and stopped?
Well, I think that he'll get game planned for, and on top of the fact, I mean, I'd be mighty surprised if a Boise State Bronco won the Heisman Trophy.
Hey, they were good a while ago.
I mean, regardless of what happens, though, it's an incredible feat, and it's really exciting to watch.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit about Dylan Gabriel. Transfer quarterback, may I add. He's not the only transfer quarterback that have seen struggles. We have DJU, and most importantly, I say most importantly because it's close to my heart, Riley Leonard for Notre Dame. Notre Dame looked garbage this weekend. To put it, that's probably a nice way to put it, is they looked garbage, but I know that interfered with your Nebraska football game, Tyler, so you didn't get to watch a whole bunch of it, but did any of you boys get to tune into that tragedy?
Yeah, I don't think there was a quarter where I was like, oh yeah, this team looks like they could go undefeated, like what we were talking about last podcast.
I mean, that's such a bad clip too.
Yeah,
difference a week can make.
Bad.
1 week can make, and it just ruins our podcast.
Well, I mean, and no hit to Northern Illinois at all. I mean, they played great football. Notre Dame played bad, but Notre Dame probably still gets that win, even if they play bad, if Northern Illinois is playing even
like a MAC team.
Yes, exactly. Like literally anything. They looked like they could play Texas or something. they looked really good in that game. So, I mean, yeah, it sucks for Notre Dame to have played the way they did, but I mean, Northern Illinois had themselves a hell of a game.
It hurts my heart to say it, but I was talking to a friend, and we made the statement that Brian Kelly, Notre Dame's old football coach, who's now at LSU, Brian Kelly would not have won the game at Texas A&M.
No.
But Brian Kelly sure as hell would have beat NIU.
Yeah.
And so it's like, as Notre Dame fans, we're sitting there and we're talking, and we're just like what is it? Like, are we okay with this going on? And the answer is clearly no.
Well, after this loss, what do you think your odds are for the playoffs this year?
Yeah, so there was like a Sports Illustrated article that kind of talked about this Notre Dame game. It was published on September 9th, and it talks about these odds specifically, how Notre Dame's odds went from minus 300 to make the playoffs to plus 300, and now they have a plus 10,000 chance to actually win the national championship. So those odds are drastically spiked, and it's definitely not what you wanted as a Notre Dame fan.
Yeah, well, on the flip side of things, a team that stocks are going through the roof right now, the Nebraska Cornhuskers get a huge win against Colorado. What were your guys' takeaway?
Huge win is an overstatement, man. You guys should have won that game no matter what. Now, granted, you did blow them out of the water.
It should have been worse.
It should have been worse, absolutely.
The offense didn't look great in the second half.
Big game is an overstatement, but I mean, hey, Raiola looked good. He looked really good.
He's getting all the Patrick Mahomes comparisons, and now the media loves him now.
I mean, yeah, he's playing good football. He deserves it.
Mm-hmm.
What does what does the future, Grant, for Colorado look like though? They're 1-1 to start the year, but now they have Colorado State next week. They're obviously, I think they're projected to win that game, as they should. I don't think CSU's that great of a team this season, but what's it look like for the rest of the season? Can they go bowling because they didn't last year? And then what do you think Dion does? I think we talked about it last week, but it's going to be a kind of theme this season. What's Dion going to do?
If you had to ask me for a quick answer if they're going to go bowling, I'm going to say no. I think looking at their schedule, they've got some good teams. They got Kansas State, Arizona, Utah, Kansas, Oklahoma State. They've got some good teams. I don't think
you just listed like 4 teams that they're going to lose to.
Yeah.
So.
I don't think they're winning those games. And then there's UCF too. I think
UCF's going to be a good team.
Good.
Yeah.
You know what? Going back what you said about Coach Prime and what does he do if he has another losing season, I would not be surprised if he abandons ship and jumps somewhere else.
Do you think he gets fired, or do you think he leaves?
Colorado would never fire him. He brings in so much money.
I was talking to somebody. I'm not going to name names. And they said that there's a man down in Dallas, Texas named Jerry Jones who would potentially take a flyer on somebody named Deion Sanders and Shadur. Now, do you guys think that's even in the realm of possibility?
Not at all. Jerry
Not
Jones,
even with a showman like Jerry Jones.
Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys are already marketed as America's team. They don't need Coach Prime to come in. I'm assuming you mean as a head coach.
Yeah, I mean as a head coach.
Well, on top of the fact that they just locked down Dak to like what, a $240 million?
He's getting paid like $60 million a year.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I just think the storylines right there would be so funny.
Oh, they would be hilarious, but it's not even in the back of my head. It's not even close to my head. That is just, there's no way that happens.
I'm sure we'll talk about Mr. Dak Prescott later in the show.
Yeah.
But
Oh, yeah.
the Kansas Jayhawks, our Kansas Jayhawks, went to Champaign and struggled against the Fighting Illini. Yeah, that game was not very close. I know. Again, Tyler, you were gone.
Yep.
We didn't have the chance to watch it. I know us three definitely paid attention to it. Grant, tell me something about that game that you noticed just like stuck out to you.
I mean, what stuck out to me honestly was anytime Jalen Daniels dropped back, I was worried. Like there was not a time, like when you're watching a football game and see him drop back, oh, here could be a big play. Every time he dropped back, I was worried. I was like, this is going to get picked off. His decision making the whole game was iffy.
Do you guys think he looked healthy? I was on X before the game, or not before the game, before we recorded, and someone was posting clips from the Lindenwood game compared to the Illinois game, and they were just saying, like, he doesn't look 100%. Do you guys think that has anything to do with it, or do you guys think we're just blowing stuff out of proportion because we're Kansas football fans?
Well, me and Tyler, we were talking to some friends yesterday, and one of our friends was saying how they think maybe he changed his throwing motion, whether consciously or subconsciously, because of his back. And when he said that, I was like, that could very well be a possibility. Maybe maybe while he was in rehab, they're like, hey, you can't throw like this anymore. Let's change it up somehow.
Or it was hurting.
Yeah.
Like, all of us would try to play. Like, we would want to go out there and we'd want to play, but if you can't do what you're supposed to do, you're going to try to figure it out. You're going to tweak some things, and you're going to try to make it a little less painful, I guess. We're still speculating over an injury that he's supposedly cleared from, but
The thing is, and I haven't seen that clip that you saw of the throwing motions being compared, but he's going to do what he can to win games, and I don't think he's going to change his throwing motion because it hurts him or may cause injury. I think he would do it to try and get the ball out more efficiently because that's what he's being taught in practice.
Well, either way, whether he's hurt or not, Jeff Grimes should have realized that something was wrong with him, and they should have ran the ball a lot more. I mean, he could not throw.
Jeff, he didn't run the ball.
No.
Like,
ever.
Neil had 14 carries for over 100 yards.
we can all sit here and just
Could've been
hammer
way
the
more.
exact same thing, but at the end of the day, what we did in Illinois didn't work.
There were words that kind of lifted me up, though. In a post-game interview, Lance Leipold said that I'm sorry. I feel really bad for the people who have counted us out, or something along those lines. And I think that gave me some hope going into our game against UNLV this Friday.
Yeah, because ultimately this loss, it sucks, It doesn't mean anything.
It's not
It's an
conference.
out-of-conference game. You get an automatic bid from the Big 12.
Yep.
So it doesn't hurt anything, and it's a great experience to be able to go to a Big 10 school on the road, sold-out stadium, and play in a big game early in the season. It would have been a great – me and my friend were talking about this after the Nebraska game because we saw Kansas loss. It would have been a great win for Kansas, and it turned into a bad loss. It's not really a mix of any – like, you don't have, like, a middle ground there. It could have been a great win. Instead, it was a bad loss. Doesn't look great on the season resume, but ultimately, that's a Big Ten team on the road, sold-out stadium.
Yeah. But I really like how Lance Leipold's approaching this next week. He met with the media earlier today. I'm looking at the UDK article right now, so shout out Avery for this beautiful writing. But he said that they played good. He said defensively they were solid. They made a few slip-ups, and that's what ended up causing them the game. He talks about Jalen Daniels throwing the ball, and he said, he made some questionable throws that he wishes he had back, but he says everyone's okay. Yeah. Everyone will be fine. We're 2 weeks into the year. If Lance Leipold's still confident with this team, I don't believe it's coach talk yet.
No,
I agree.
So we're good. We'll be okay.
See, the question is, though, and this is big hypothetical here, but I kind of want to get y'all's opinions on it. Kansas, let's say they win the Big 12 or just have a good enough record to get an at-large bid to the college football playoff. Can they realistically make a run? Do they have the depth? Do they have the trenches? Do they have the star power? That we know they're an explosive team, but can they realistically make a run?
I'm hesitant after this game. I mean, obviously, as a Kansas fan, when you lose, it's death. When you win, it's life. So I think, obviously, maybe my perspective is a little skewed. But, I mean, going into this year, I had, I was almost positive. We're going to make a good run. We might not win it all, but we're sure as hell going to make the playoffs. And after that loss to Illinois, I mean, just a lot of things were sloppy. But, like Lance said, it's the second week of the season. I mean, it happens, so... What about you, Grant? You got a take?
I would love to say yes, but I mean, unless something changes, and it will change. Like you said, it's only week 2.
Yeah, everyone adapts.
I do think if they flip it around and play football like we expected them to this year, I could see them getting in there, middle seed.
Yep.
And my only fear is if we go in, let's say we're a 12 seed or we're a low seed or a high seed, I guess, and we get up against a Ohio State or a team like that, can we compete?
I don't think Kansas has an elite defensive lineman that can take over a game and control the line of scrimmage for them. And if you can't win in the trenches against an Ohio State, it's real hard to win those games. I mean, you saw it. I hate to bring it up again. The Colorado game, they couldn't get anything on the offensive line or defensive line going, and they lost the game.
Yeah, Nebraska definitely won in the trenches, and that was, I think, even apparent in the Illinois KU game. So
yeah,
I think KU will be okay.
Yep.
I still have high expectations. I think this team's going to be very good. I just kind of wish the play calling was a little different.
But at the end of the day, we are Kansas Jayhawks fans talking about football and upset that we lost to a Big Ten school. Imagine that a couple years ago.
Imagine watching someone rush the field after they beat the Kansas Jayhawks.
Exactly. You gotta be a little more down to earth. It's year 4 under Leipold.
Yep.
Talking about college football playoff expectations is just unheard of a couple years ago.
Yes.
So
Correct.
at the end of the day, we may not be there yet, but we are certainly going in the right direction. And
agree.
Ultimately, over Lance's whole thing, whole stint here, there's not much to worry about. He's trending in the right direction. Grant?
One thing I do got to say is if we are to make that turn to where, Kansas obviously a basketball school, but if we want to make that turn and become a football school, one thing I think we got to do a little better is recruiting. Because, we got some good recruits, but, if we want to compete for a national championship in football, we need to step it up a notch. Because, you got in-state rivals K-State, and they're more, I would say, labeled as a football school. And so when these recruits come in, and they're a football player, and they might want to go to K-State more, and I think we need to start just showing out that we can compete for those big guys.
Yep.
Yeah, and you bring up K-State. They had a tough game against Tulane, hostile environment, close game late, and Tulane's quarterback tries to make a play, hero ball. Shouldn't have done it. He probably wishes he could have that back, but K-State ends up getting the win there. What are our takeaways from that game, and how do we think about K-State maybe competing for the Big 12? I mean, we don't want to say it. As Kansas fans, we don't want to say it, but
I love the Tulane quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Someone stop me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he's a true freshman.
That's
Back
what
there
they
under
were. That's what
center.
they were talking about in the broadcast.
And I don't think the quarterbacks graduated. I think this freshman's just straight up better than them, which I think is fun to watch. He was fun to watch on Saturday. K-State's a good football team. They're ranked high for a reason. And, man, they had me on the ropes. I, as a Jayhawk fan, wish they lost. But it was a great football game to watch. And definitely a fun Saturday.
Yeah. I mean, more of that, yeah. I think they had an off game. I mean, as much as that pains me to say it,
Yep.
they had an off game.
It's kind of taken their offense. They've had slow starts the past 2 games. Obviously, it's only 2 weeks into the season, but I feel like K-State, they're going to have to work on that because when you're going up against a Utah team, hopefully Cam Rising's healthy. I saw something that he might be injured. I didn't see that game. But you're going up against a Utah or even an Iowa State, which we're going to talk about next, you're going to have to get off to a good start. You know, you might not score in the first drive, but you got to be able to put some pressure on. You can't just rely on the defense all the time because, you know, good offenses are going to be in the Big 12 too.
Yep.
And, we bring up Iowa State. They beat number 21 Iowa in Iowa City. What are our thoughts from that game? Just to start with.
Come out and say I was wrong. I thought Iowa was going to be a top-ranked, top 15 team, but, you know, the season's not over, obviously, like we've been harping all day. It's only week 2, but I thought Iowa was going to get that win against Iowa State. And watching that game, it fell apart at the end.
I agree.
It fell apart.
It's really upsetting. Iowa got off to a pretty hot start. Their defense is obviously really good. But it's always a bad loss when you let somebody come into your crib and kick you around. And towards the end of the game, that's what happened. Iowa is definitely one of my biggest losers for the week. So
Yeah.
it's a bad loss.
Especially a
for
rival,
Iowa.
too. Like
It's a rival.
In-state rival coming in to your
State
house.
rival coming in, 54-yard field goal, 6 seconds
And
left.
that's one of
finishes
those
the game off.
losses, too, that just sting. Like, when you have the lead for a
And they
majority
had
of the game,
chances to put them away.
Yes.
I saw some on Twitter from an Iowa fan that was like right before the game, all that smack talk's done. They said they were kind of nervous because it's apparently been a theme throughout the current administration that's there with Iowa to come out in these games against an opponent that they should absolutely beat, and they come out flat, and then they give them up at home. So that's something to definitely watch for Iowa. I mean, last year I immediately think, obviously they didn't have a good offense, but that Minnesota game that they lost, they should have beat Minnesota. Minnesota was a bad football team last year.
Yeah.
So, like, that's just kind of crazy. But, and Grant, you say it's week 2, but should we be worried about Iowa's future for the season? I mean, they're in the Big Ten. That's a competitive conference. You saw Big Ten West, RIP. But that's a competitive conference that every game just ends up being a dogfight, especially when you don't have one of the best offenses. So,
You know, I think Iowa, they played a rival. Obviously, rivalry games, they're going to be different. I feel like no matter how good one team is compared to the other, there's always the chance where it's a rivalry game. It might be their Super Bowl. We've seen that a lot. We say that with K-State all the time in basketball. You know, I think Iowa's going to be fine. I think they now end the season 2 to 3 losses. I don't have the schedule pulled up, but I know they play Ohio State. Is there Oregon on there?
No,
the real
Oregon.
question is Nebraska going to beat them?
Okay.
I sure hope
That
so
will
after
again
seeing.
be a rivalry, not an in-state rivalry, but
I
Forced one.
I mean, that's Ohio State and Nebraska are the two that catch my eye. I think UCLA will give them a run for their money too, to be honest. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's probably one of the hardest schedules I've seen for a Big Ten team so far. Like for a lower tier Big Ten team at least.
And speaking of Iowa, they were ranked last week?
21.
21. They've fallen out. I know we're about to talk about the people. They've fallen out. Iowa State took their place at 21. What do you think about that, guys?
Well, the only thing I'm gonna say is I'm gonna kind of backtrack a little bit. We talked about Iowa's like not known offense. McNamara looked really good in week 1, and week 2 he still looked pretty good. Definitely not I'm not like throwing out like crazy takes right now about McNamara.
He
but
can win them games.
He can win games, but he didn't look nearly as good in like the red zone.
No.
And so like that's a little scary. I know they kind of got down there a few times and had to settle for 3, but you're just kind of sitting there and you're like, man, they had chances to punch it in.
Yep.
And they couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
And if Iowa really wants to make a push, they're gonna have to punch those in.
And we talk about how Iowa kind of lost that game, but I mean, let's flip side. Iowa State won that game. Is Iowa State a good football team? Did they just get lucky? Like, what's up here? Can they compete for the Big 12 too? Like, that's gonna be a repeated theme, but
They're a good team. There's a lot of teams that can compete for the Big 12. It's still way too early to,
Nail something
pick and
down.
pick and poke on these certain teams, but there's a lot of good teams in the Big 12, or
Yeah.
a lot of teams that can at least compete for something.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, was there anything specifically you guys liked out of Iowa State, or it was just that it was a close game and they got it in the end?
Honestly, it was a gutsy game. Losing majority of that game and then in the fourth quarter start your comeback. That's you love to see that out of a team.
Yeah.
Because on the other flip side, having your team lose a game like that, and we'll get into it later in the NFL, but it sucks. It is not fun to watch your team lose when you're winning big. So,
And something I'm going to add to what Grant's saying is Iowa State fans and Iowa State themselves will tell you they didn't really play very good at the start of the game.
Mm-hmm.
But they kept it close. They made plays when they had to make plays, and they ended up like gutting one out.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a tough pill for Iowa to swallow. So I know that they're loving this win.
Yeah.
You gotta love when your team wins a dogfight.
Oh,
Yep.
It's no better feeling.
Yep. And Grant, you brought up the AP poll. Let's take a look at it, guys. What's some themes you're starting to see in the AP poll? What's some things we like and maybe don't like about it?
I think, obviously, we have it on the script here. 6 of the top 7 teams are from the SEC. The SEC, they always say the Big 10, Big 12, they're trying to rival the SEC for football, but I mean, come on. I mean,
But
The
So,
only
top
two
7?
team or the only team that in the top 7 that isn't is Ohio State.
and
Yep.
yes, they are in the top 3, but
Yep.
still, I mean, and then there's
the
There's
top
only-
9 teams are all from the
I
Big
was
10
gonna
or
say
SEC.
only the only
so-
team in the top 10 that's competing in there is Miami from the ACC.
Yep.
Only non-power 2. If you really want to put it like that.
Shout outs to NIU who cracked the top 25. They're slotted in at 25. Shout out to Boston College. They
I
played
think-
very good.
I think Bill O'Brien's gonna really get that team going. He
So
looks
do
like
I.
a good
Yeah.
head coach there. Big win against FSU last week.
Yep.
Got a good win this week against the team that they were supposed to beat.
I mean, it's
Did it
kind of hard.
convincingly.
It's kind of hard to beat some teams that you're supposed to beat. Just
Mhm.
ask Notre Dame. Drops
So,
13 spots.
talking about Notre Dame. I'm going to jump in real quick. Do you think we see Northern Illinois jump some more? Because looking at their schedule,
It's the MAC.
it's the MAC.
It's the MAC.
But they got Buffalo. NC State will be a good game. Massachusetts, Bowling Green. Correct me if I'm wrong. They're 2-0, right?
I
Not a big Bowling
No
Green
idea,
guy,
yeah.
but
I
you know
can't
I
throw
will.
that out
Yeah.
right now.
Oh no. Sorry, I'll correct myself. They are 1-1.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
And
They might have had
lost to Penn State where they lost.
I was gonna say, they had a
by
tough
7.
game.
Yeah, they had a
They had a tough
dogfight,
game.
but
By
they
7
actually
to
They
Penn
lost
covered.
by
They
7
covered
to
the
Penn
spread.
State. Let me check where the game was at.
I
was
think
at
in
Penn
Happy
State.
Valley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Wow.
That's-
The thing about the MAC is it's like the Big Ten West from last year, where just any team can win on any given week. It's a dogfight conference that the best 2 teams or the 2 teams that are in that conference championship might not be the best 2 teams that you thought were going into the season. It's not a cut and dry conference. So
Yeah.
NIU, it's the MAC, but they have a lot of work to do. Those are conference games. Those are big games, and when you have a number by your name, teams are going to be trying to compete a little extra to
Yeah.
be able to beat you.
I would agree, but I would say honestly, if I had to choose my favorite for the MAC, I would say Northern Illinois, just because they beat Notre Dame. And obviously there is fluke games, but number 5 at number 5 Notre Dame winning that game, a tough game too. It wasn't a blowout. It was a 16-14 victory.
And
It didn't even look like a fluke game. It just
No.
looked like Northern Illinois showed up to
They
play.
just shut them
and-
down.
Yeah.
If you ask Marcus Freeman right now, he will tell you that they did not overlook NIU.
Yeah. Well.
But guys, that's coach talk.
Yeah. Right.
That's coach talk. We don't overlook any opponent.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yes, you do. Yes, you do, and you did on
Well-
Saturday. And I mean, it was very clear that Notre Dame was getting NIU was smashing Notre Dame.
Yes.
I'm not talking about oh, they just gutted out like 2 yards of play and they got a big play on third. It was, we're going to pound the rock for 7 yards.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to do it again, and we're going to do it again. And Notre Dame's defense, I came out here and said on the podcast last week, best in the country. And holy.
Let's
You're
just,
a little off on
let's
that.
just make sure we go back and
If-
clip
yeah,
that whole
yeah,
segment.
right.
That entire segment about Notre Dame being undefeated and how good they are is going to get absolutely clipped.
Well,
Notre
well,
Dame looked
Valley,
bad.
man.
Well,
Yes.
well, Jack, what do you think of where they ended up? I mean,
That is
18?
generous.
That's what I thought
Really?
too.
I think
Um,
15 spots is kind of insane.
13.
I mean,
It
13,
is.
you're right, but
It is insane. But what I will say is a lot of people are like, why is Notre Dame even ranked in the AP poll? I don't think the AP poll at all would drop a team top 5 ranked out of the poll completely.
No.
And so I feel like this is kind of being like the max that they would go. Like, obviously Notre Dame is still a top 20 team.
yeah, they have a ranked win.
They are a very good football team, but it was not a very flattering Saturday to be a Notre Dame fan. That's for sure.
Yeah,
You don't
well,
like to see games like this, but week 2.
You know who had a very flattering Saturday? Tennessee, College game day, goes in to NC State and just gave them a whooping.
Yeah,
Up 7 spots in the AP poll. Did Tennessee make a good state? I mean, that was a statement game for them, but what are we reading into that?
think they could have made a better statement than that. I thought that was one hell of a way to kind of come out and say, yeah, we're here. Like, we're a good team. I mean, we said that was going to be a pretty close game. I mean, that's what we thought, but Tennessee obviously came out and said absolutely not. So
Yeah, Tennessee put a whooping on them, and I love to see teams that are supposed to be good and supposed to win go into places and dominate.
yes,
And they did that. And I mean, at the end of the day, they get rewarded for it. They're a good football team. And I think the thing about the SEC is it's such a juggernaut. You have so many teams battling it out, so many really good football teams battling out. I think the rankings are going to kind of be a little disproportionate.
Yeah.
When it kind of comes to that, because you're playing ranked teams every week. But I do really love the competitive nature from these SEC schools, and Tennessee's one hell of a team.
Yeah, and to kind of follow that up, I mean, the ACC is getting it's not gone well for them to start the year. We're kind of seeing a bit, like, it's the Power 4, but really it's the Big 3. It's the Big 12, Big 10, SEC.
Big 2.
big 2.
But, I mean,
if we want to throw a Big 12 in there, we can.
I think, the thing is, I think the top teams in the Big 12, I think Utah and all them can go and compete with maybe the up to mid end of those two schools. It's the SEC we're talking about. I'm not going to get too crazy, but
Competing is different than winning.
I don't
Yeah.
think a single team other than Miami can go and can say the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think you kind of hit it on the head right there. It really is just kind of the Big 3 in terms of that, and that's okay. The ACC's got Duke, and they have North Carolina, so basketball season, yay.
Yeah, but
leave football to the big dogs.
Yeah.
Now, we just spent all that time kind of recapping the last week of college football, and man, was it a good week, unless your name was Jack Kenna. But we have only a few good games, I'll say, to look kind of forward to on the slate this week. So let's take a look into that. So we have KU, our Jayhawks, take on UNLV in a blackout game on Friday. They opened up on the 9th as 7-point favorites. What are your guys' opinions about that right now? I think Grant's probably going to get us a little odds checkup, a little spread checkup right there. But what do you guys think?
I mean, I'll start it off. I think it's gonna be similar. I think it's gonna be a dogfight early on. I think those two teams don't have the best relationship after playing each other in the bowl game last year. Things got a little chippy at times.
Very chippy.
The UNLV social media account is tweeting uncalled pass interference. So I think it'll be a hot start for UNLV on the road, trying to make a statement for themselves because they're having a good season. They're 2-0 right now. They have some potential out there.
Leipold said that UNLV believes they're a top 25 team.
And they
should.
They have reason to, yeah.
You know, I'll look real quick. They might be receiving votes.
I
They
wouldn't
might
be surprised.
Yeah, they're only getting 7 votes right now, but they're receiving votes.
Leipold said UNLV believes they're a good team, and they're going to try to prove it at Children's Mercy Park. So I think it's very important that KU starts hot.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'll let you go. All I was going to say is I really want Devin Neal to come out firing, guns blazing.
Yes, that's exactly what I was about to say. I mean, I think this is one of those games where we can't fall asleep at the wheel at halftime. I mean,
100%.
this is going to be a battle for sure. It's, in my opinion, it's a coin flip, which makes me a little upset to say when we're playing UNLV. However, I think this is a proving ground for us. After that loss to Illinois last week, this is a game for us to come out and say, that was a fluke. We're here to stay. Our playoff hopes are still alive. And like Jack said, I hope Devin Neal comes out with some fire.
Mm-hmm.
I think this game, honestly, could determine the rest of the season for the Jayhawks. I think if they come out and respond how they should, that sets the tone for the rest of the season. Like, yeah, we did get knocked down, but we're going to battle through adversity, and we're going to win this next game. So I think, honestly, if KU comes out and gets smacked, I think they just put their heads down.
Yeah.
And I think they gave up, and that's not what you want to see.
Mm-mm.
Because, 2 losses, that's not – your season's not over with 2 losses. I mean, it doesn't look good.
Especially when they're non-conference losses.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
I think if KU comes in, takes care of business, and, battles the adversity, I think this could definitely be a turning point in the season. Already in week 3, but still.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, well, get ready to clip it. I'm going to look right at the camera right here. My not-so-bold prediction for the game is it might be close after the first half. Kansas runs away with it in the second half. They have better guys. They have better stars. They better have the better trenches, being a Power 4 school. Kansas is going to run away with it. Kansas covers the spread. Bet that. Hammer it down.
I'm also going to hammer KU spread right now. I might alt-line it 6.5, but I do like KU in this game. I think they're going to take care of business, especially wearing the blackout uniforms.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
How about you guys?
Good teams cover the spread.
Good teams cover the
Great teams
spread.
cover the spread.
Yep.
Good teams are close. Great teams cover the spread.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I think I'm with Kenna. I may take the alternate line with the 6.5 there. I love that idea. But yeah, I mean, I think we come out with some fire. Being back at home at Children's Mercy, it should be a fun watch.
And, it's tough to say that back at home at Children's Mercy. Obviously, if this
We
was,
wish it was here, don't we?
Yeah.
Just right
Yep.
across the street.
obviously, if it was our way and it was a pure home game and we were in Lawrence,
How
honestly,
cool.
I think.
How cool would it be to black out the booth?
Oh, We
awesome.
were there at the blackout game. It came up on my Snapchat memories.
Mhm.
Last time we blacked out the booth, that was an awesome game.
Yeah, Illinois actually.
It was Illinois,
Yeah.
and we played great.
Yep.
And it was awesome because when you have that home environment, I'm not saying KU fans aren't traveling well, but it's not a home game. There's some students that aren't going to go to that game because it's not on campus.
They don't
It
want to
also
pay
only-
$100 for a parking pass or whatever it
It
is.
also only holds 25,000. I mean,
Exactly.
it's half of what we had here. So
I mean, last year's games were super fun. I think even the vibe would change if we didn't lose last week.
yeah,
I think everyone would be more excited because this is a really, really anticipated football team that we have, and I am still excited for the rest of the year, and I think that we have a lot of things to prove on Friday. Now our rivals, the boys down the street, Kansas State, number 14 ranked in the AP poll this week, take on Arizona. This game is going to be at Kansas State. Kansas State opens up at 7.5-point favorites. What are your guys' takes here? Does Avery Johnson have it? Right now he's been struggling moving the ball down the field.
I think this is certainly a test for Kansas State. They've had slow starts the past 2 games, and they're playing a ranked team now, one of the new Big 12 teams. Arizona shows a lot of big play potential, and they're definitely deserving of the number by their name right now. They are a top 25 team. I think, and this isn't K-State hate, I think Arizona has a lot of potential to go in there and we'll say upset the Kansas State Wildcats. I just think that they're going to be ready to go off the whistle. I think that's going to be a great environment, though.
yeah.
Yep, I agree. I mean, Arizona has the most electric player in college football. They have T-Mac, that wide receiver out there, and he's got 4 receiving touchdowns so far this season already. I mean, we've played 2 games.
Yeah.
He has 315 total yards. He is an electric player, and Kansas State's going to have a problem on their hands if they can't find somebody to match up with him. He's also has questionably, arguably, one of the best quarterbacks in the Big 12 throwing him the ball. So Kansas State, their defense is going to have their hands full. However, it's at home. I still think this one's going to be a little too close for comfort. I'm not 100% bought in on Avery Johnson yet. I'm not buying his stock if that's what we're at. If you're asking me right now today, I'm not going to buy Avery Johnson's stock. I'm going to take Arizona to cover the spread, and they might win the damn game.
Yeah, I agree. I think probably going to see a lot of ground game out of K-State. I definitely not buying into the Avery Johnson
Helps when you
stock.
got 2 running backs.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, I think Arizona's gonna come in there and get this one. It's gonna be a great game. K-State has a great environment, and I think they're gonna cover the spread and go in there and show the Big 12 that they're here to stay. So should be a fun one.
I would agree with exactly what you two just said. I think you guys said it perfectly. I think, Arizona, I feel like going into a higher ranked team, I think they're going to have that chip on their shoulder. And I think this game might surprise some people. Personally, I think Kansas State, I think they're a little bit of frauds this year. I don't think they're the powerhouse, and quotations on the powerhouse.
Let's use that term
say,
very.
We'll say,
Hey, we are talking K-State, no natties.
Yeah.
we will say the Big 12 powerhouse.
There we go.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
The Big 12 powerhouse, K-State, they are not where they were last year, or
Yeah.
even the year before that. I think this could be a blowout game. Arizona wins. Honestly,
That's a bold
Really?
take.
Blowout,
That's a
huh?
bold take.
Definitely a bold take for someone who is counter-arguing ESPN analytics that K-State has 73% chance to win. But I'm going to agree. I think Arizona's electric.
Yeah.
And when you give electric teams chances, Avery Johnson, and I'm not going to throw out Avery Johnson, K-State as a whole didn't play their best football until around quarter number 4 last week.
Yeah.
And if they don't do that today, if they don't do that on Friday when this game's taking place,
It's gonna be a long season.
Arizona's offense is a little more electric than Tulane's.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
that's all I'm going to say. I think we have all made our picks about the spread. Tyler, are you taking the Wildcats as well?
I like Arizona to cover. I think they certainly have the chance to win. I think K-State will win, but I think Arizona covers the spread.
get him out of here.
Sorry. But real quick, to segue to the next game we want to talk about, who is in charge of scheduling games for Alabama? Why'd they put USF on the schedule again after last season, and why are they going to Camp Randall as the number 4 team first year under Kalen DeBoer? This is not a good game for Alabama. This has upset and trap game written all over it. They're favored by 16. Take Wisconsin to cover. They're going to cover 16 points.
Yeah.
I'm going to disagree. I like Jalen Milroe. I think that Kalen DeBoer is making a very good decision taking his team to Camp Randall, because if they can win in Camp Randall, they can win anywhere. That place is electric.
Yeah.
It really is.
Honestly, I think it's a step game here. I think they're using this game as a stepping stool. If they can win this game at Wisconsin, that's a lot of momentum going into the number 1 team in college football, Georgia, the next week.
Yeah.
I think that could be a very
100%.
Yeah.
I think that's honestly smart for their.
Give them a rowdy
Yeah, but
environment to test themselves.
what happens if Wisconsin gets the upset and then they have to play
Obviously-
Georgia the next week?
Obviously, there is a downside.
Well, then
to
we're
it.
talking about this differently, okay?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think you're going against a Big Ten team on the road. We know now from Illinois, it might not go so well. It's going to be a crazy
But you
environment.
can't compare KU to
Alabama's
Alabama.
not KU.
Yeah.
Yes, but
They
this
ain't
is
kidding.
Wisconsin's Super Bowl. They can go and beat Alabama. They have so much momentum, and now we're talking about, can Wisconsin win the Big Ten?
Tyler, who's Wisconsin's quarterback?
All they need
That's
is
what I
Luke
thought.
Fickle.
Yeah.
All they need
Alabama's
is
gonna
Luke
win this
Fickle.
game. I don't know
Yeah.
if they'll cover, but they'll win this game.
I
So-
don't think they'll cover, but I think they.
You think they get it done?
They have
they get it done. There's no way they don't.
Okay.
Wisconsin covers. Put them in as my upset pick for the week. I think Wisconsin at home. Alabama's not overlooking this game, but maybe they are. They got Georgia next week. Maybe they overlook this game.
Well, shit. I would probably start planning for Georgia too.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some NFL. Obviously, we went over our picks last week, and I don't know if we have those numbers tallied up or not.
Yeah, your boy forgot to tally them. So, we can cut away right now and put a graphic up on the screen.
Yeah, there will be
yeah.
something up showing you our tallies from last week. But let's talk about some NFL games this week.
Yeah.
That we watched. Let's recap some of them. We'll start off with Tyler's Chiefs and Ravens. That was the first game of the NFL season on Thursday.
What a great game.
Yeah, talk to us about it.
So, it was very obvious going into that game that the Chiefs' D-line was going to be tested. You had to see if they could hold up against probably what's going to be one of the best running games in the NFL this season in the Baltimore Ravens.
They did.
And I mean, they held their own, but the Ravens definitely were imposing their will.
Yeah.
I
I
think
thought the Chiefs' defensive line played pretty good.
they played great. All things
They-
considered, they played great.
Yeah,
I mean, you let them run all over you, don't win that game.
Yeah,
I think both teams definitely could have done different things to pull away and win that game, and it just came down to
You're
what it
also
did.
asking the Chiefs to stop Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. Like that is
Yeah.
a tough.
They
task
did.
for them,
They
and
stopped
did a
Derrick
very
Henry.
good- They did
Yeah.
a very good job.
They limited Lamar. They put pressure. They gave him pressure, and Derrick Henry didn't have his best game on the ground. But I feel like for the most part, the Chiefs' defense played good enough.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you need to play good enough to win against teams like Baltimore, and I
mean,
they did a
it
very
was
good job.
It was a big test, first game without L'Jarius Sneed, and you have a great receiver in Zay Flowers who was starting to kind of take over in that AFC Championship last year. All things considered, I think the Chiefs did great. It's week 1, so obviously both teams are going to get a lot better. I think Isaiah Likely in his post-game presser said, if this is the best that the Chiefs are going to get all season, they got another thing coming for them. Like, both teams are going to get better.
You can't rule out any team week 1 except the Titans. Okay.
Maybe
That was just-
maybe the
we'll get into that
Broncos.
a little later, but that was just
Yeah, maybe the Panthers.
They look terrible.
They look
Yeah,
bad.
they looked bad.
So let's go rapid fire. If they play again, who wins?
Chiefs, Ravens?
Yep.
What are we talking?
Playoffs.
Playoffs? I have the Ravens beating the Chiefs in the AFC
So
Championship.
you're gonna stick with it.
Yeah. Actually, I don't even think I put the Chiefs in the AFC Championship. I think it was Ravens, Texans. The Ravens were my Super Bowl pick.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be able to run the ball in the postseason. Ravens can certainly run the damn ball. So
Yeah,
give me
I
the
would
Ravens.
go. I would go Ravens too if they match up. I didn't feel super confident choosing the Ravens after what I watched, but I really do believe that they are going to get a little better.
Yeah, I like the Ravens as well. I mean, you got to remember they lost that game by a big toe. Like
They lost that game by a big toe.
Dion makes that catch.
Yeah, right. Like I think that's definitely something to keep in mind. It was a great game all the way to the end. So I still love the Ravens.
You got some
I
bad
don't
feelings. I gave you a great parlay, and it got sold on
Okay,
that.
before I say my take, I had a parlay for $5, and it would have got me 125, right? Like,
Yeah,
someone
it
got-
was a pretty good payout.
and it hit like half of it. It was a 4-leg parlay. The first half hits in the first quarter, and I'm like, perfect. What did I say? I said Derrick Henry rushing touchdown, and then
It was you lost on. So you
I
had
lost on the Lamar over 1.5 touchdowns.
you had
and I know
maybe
Trevor,
Xavier Worthy anytime
Yes, it was
touchdown.
Xavier Worthy
Harrison
touchdown.
Harrison Bucker field goals over, and I think you had Derrick Henry getting a
Yes.
touchdown.
All right, so
Oh,
Trevor
yeah,
was
that
there
hit in
with
the
me.
first half, except
Yeah.
Lamar.
Trevor was there with me. Trevor, I just want you to tell the audience, what was my reaction when I thought Lamar had thrown that second touchdown at the end of the game?
So I remember you getting up off the couch, jumping around, and screaming "Hell yes" at the top of your lungs, and then we see my roommate John get up and he started cheering, and you had the saddest look I have ever seen a human being have on his face once you realized his big toe was
I
out of
knew
bounds.
immediately, obviously, as soon as they review, and obviously they're going to review it because it's
They
touchdown.
review all
Yeah,
scoring
it's the game.
plays, all
especially with the
turnovers.
game that close. They're reviewing that. That was just brutal. A brutal way to lose that bet. Again, a roller coaster. of
I wouldn't
emotions.
wish that upon my worst enemy.
No.
It was terrible.
No.
And it honestly ruined the mood for the rest of the night.
You went nonverbal after that.
Yeah.
I did go nonverbal.
Yeah.
I mean, we're gonna skip ahead, but this is the perfect segue. We're talking about nonverbal. Trevor during the first half of the Bears Titans game was going through it. I mean, he was facing his demons. You wanna talk about what you saw at that game as a Bears fan?
Yeah, I have lost a lot of my confidence in the Chicago Bears after that game.
2
I mean,
points.
our drafted our first overall pick of the NFL draft, he could not do anything. Our defense had 20 something points. It was all of our points came from
22
defense, pretty
points
much.
from
Yeah,
defense.
22 points from the defense.
Simone Biles' husband scored a touchdown.
Yes, yeah, I that's probably when I started to speak again, but
You're very happy.
I was thrilled because I don't have a lot of faith going into the game against Texas coming up for us. I mean, I'd be happy if we lose by less than 2 touchdowns.
Here's
to be
what I'm
honest.
going to say about Texas, though. Obviously, I think we're going to talk about them maybe a little later. They didn't look good against the Colts.
No,
No, the Texans didn't.
I don't like that game for my fantasy team, my
You
Texas
know,
theme
everyone
team.
said going into this year, at least I think some of you guys said the Texans are going to win the AFC South. And obviously, it's week 1, so these takes are not built with a lot of support behind
Yeah.
them. But They did not look good week 1. And obviously, like I said, week 1, but
That's a
still,
divisional opponent, though.
Yeah.
Those games are always closer.
I don't know. Was that a home game for the
It
Texans?
was, I believe, that was a home game for the Texans, but
Got it.
that's
all
an
that matters.
AFC South opponent.
Mm-hmm.
They, you see each other twice a year. They're gonna play them close.
You know what I will say about the Bears and Caleb Williams? That is really unfortunate to not score once. And obviously, yes, he had a 2-point conversion, but with that receiving core, obviously, we can argue, we can go back and forth here about this Bears receiving core, but you cannot, they might
Keenan
be
Allen
good.
dropping a touchdown.
They might not be
Was
good.
it?
They might be good.
Yeah.
I think that Caleb Williams went into one of the best situations for a rookie quarterback.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
He had
100%.
3
They've
gifted
done a
wide
great job.
receivers. They drafted one. Great defense. And just to not see him get it done. And obviously, week 1, he's getting the rookie nerves off. But what do you think about that?
In Caleb's defense, I mean, it's hard to complete a pass when your O-line gives you a half a second to be able to throw the pass. I mean, our O-line looked atrocious, like not good at all. And I think that's one of the main points for us was it's hard to win a game when your quarterback doesn't have time to throw the ball.
You know what I think just from watching that game is, honestly, I think the Bears coaching staff kind of let Caleb Williams down because you saw he was just running. They were throwing drag routes to the flats.
Yeah.
I think at some point you hurt your rookie quarterback or your new quarterback by not letting him go out there and ball. I think putting the training wheels on Caleb Williams hurt the team more.
Yeah.
'Cause Caleb Williams is a good quarterback.
Yeah.
He is a great quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we haven't seen him in the NFL. He looked good in preseason, but to just go out there and say, hey, only throw drag routes. And I mean, you saw him, he threw some deep routes and overthrew him a little bit. And I think, honestly, that might have hurt his confidence and maybe he made the subconscious decision to not throw it deep.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's hard to go into that environment. I mean, it's a home game, but I feel like in that case, a home game's kind of worse as your first game than an away game.
Got a lot of expectations.
You've got everybody in that stadium expecting you to be the best quarterback that the Bears franchise has ever seen. Mm-hmm. And that is a lot of pressure on someone who
that's not that hard to do. The Bears don't have great quarterbacks.
Exactly.
Exactly. Jay Cutler, okay?
Yeah, come on. Leave Jay Cutler alone.
What I'm going to say about it is I don't know Caleb Williams personally, but I know his kind of attitude, and I don't think pressure really gets to him. I think it was a tough first game. I mean, Caleb Williams had tough games in college. He had a tough game against Notre Dame. He threw 3 INTs, 2 INTs, something like that.
Yeah.
And then, it happens. You have bad games. He wasn't the only rookie quarterback who struggled this year.
No.
Bo Nix had a tough game. My guy.
I think what you can't do is I don't think you can write people out just off of week 1. And I'm going to kind of switch gears here a little bit just for a second, but we saw
let's pump the brakes on that counting people out. We got a little debate coming in the future on this.
We saw how people reacted after Victor Wembanyama's first summer league game. He comes into this as the next GOAT is what people were saying.
Like the best NBA prospect since LeBron.
Exactly.
Yep.
And I'm not saying that Caleb Williams was coming into this people thinking he was going to be the next Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes, however you say.
Mm-hmm.
But one bad game. Look at what Victor Wembanyama did this year. He was insane.
Yeah.
I think Caleb Williams is going to be fine. I think he's got the rust off. I'm not even the biggest Caleb Williams fan, but I think he's going to be okay.
I'm going to clip this and show it to you when we play on Sunday night.
Alrighty.
And
Sunday morning?
I don't think
What do you mean?
We got a primetime game next week.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Jaguars and Bears game. That's 7 in the morning. It's in London. Me and Trevor will be watching that game.
You will be.
Okay.
I think one thing real quick that we didn't talk about enough.
London boys.
The Titans offense was terrible. Will Levis was terrible. You're talking about rookie quarterbacks. They're going to make rookie quarterback mistakes.
He's
Will
not
Levis
a rookie quarterback.
Will Levis is not a rookie quarterback, and he's making
Rookie mistake.
even worse mistakes
Why are
that pick six.
Why are you throwing a ball on 3rd and 6? You have no reason to throw that ball.
I will say, like Grant said, it's week 1, and he is a young guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's still going to make mistakes, but that was stupid. But does Tennessee get a little worried here? Could they be drafting Shedeur Sanders in the future?
I think. Go ahead, Jack.
I was just gonna say, that game was on my little TV because I really wanted to watch Caleb Williams' debut, and Will Levis really disappointed. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I don't think I really.
And he's in a great
words.
situation too. We didn't talk about that at all either.
Will Levis is in a great situation.
He's got Deshaun. He's got Hopkins as a receiver. He's
old.
Calvin Ridley as a receiver. And there's I'm blanking.
Treylon Burks.
Treylon Burks.
Come on.
They have another guy too.
Not a good
Who was
situation.
did they get Mooney? Who got Mooney?
Who
Didn't
cares?
Didn't Mooney go
Their
there? He's
highlight
got
player-
4 good receivers,
Their
and he couldn't
You
do
said
anything.
4 good receivers and let off with a 30-million-year
Oh,
old
come on. It's Hopkins.
DeAndre Hopkins.
Well, we're talking about Keenan Allen. Give me
But
Hopkins
Keenan
over
Allen's
Allen.
not the number 1 name you listed in there.
No.
Keenan Allen's wide receiver 3.
Calvin Ridley is the wide receiver 1 on the Tennessee Titans.
Calvin Ridley also hasn't played football in 4 years. so he
Calvin
loves to
Ridley played
gamble.
last season and earned himself a $80 million contract.
He got himself a one-way ticket to Tennessee. That's what
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
He got his paycheck though. That's what he needed. Now he can sports gamble.
that's not a
He's
very-
got-
that's not
Paycheck
a
doesn't
good
mean a number 1
situation.
slot. You're talking.
he's
you're
the
over
number
here-
1 guy on that Titans team.
So why'd you cite a paycheck? You said he got his paycheck.
Because he said he got a one-way ticket to Tennessee.
Because
he
terrible.
did.
Did
Because
get a
he's
one-way
bad.
ticket
Here's
to
what I will
Tennessee.
say about Calvin Ridley. He is an off-season menace. When he got traded to the Jaguars, I was hyped. Because again, I've said it before. Jaguars, worst thing before they had Trevor Lawrence, they could not get a wide receiver 1.
Mm-hmm.
And so when they drafted him, I was a little worried because obviously he hadn't played in 2 years, 2 years.
Yeah.
I was a little worried. But then he starts posting these training camp videos, and oh my God, I fell into the hype. I'll admit it. I fell into the hype.
He looked good.
He looked great. He's running these routes. He's looking fast. He's looking quick.
Yeah.
So I was all in on it. I was like, perfect. We got our guy. And he came out, and from a Jags perspective, he dropped a ton. There is like a 6-minute. There is a 6-minute YouTube video of his dropped touchdown passes from last year.
That's bad.
He would also give up on plays. If it was a run to his side, he would block. But if it was the other side, he wouldn't even touch the guy.
I wouldn't either.
Yeah.
That's my type of effort right
Yeah.
But, I just don't think he could not get a wide receiver 1.
Mhm.
His best player is going back to the Titans here.
Yeah.
Tony Pollard.
Tony Pollard.
Tony
Hey, he
Pollard.
looked good though. He looked good though.
I mean, he got a touchdown,
Yeah.
but
He looked good.
if your best player on offense is Tony Pollard, count me out.
Yep.
Hey, my
I
Madden
agree.
franchise from
Okay.
Madden 22 would tell you differently.
Yeah.
All right, he was an
Okay.
X factor.
The Bengals didn't look very good this weekend. They let the New England Patriots come into their crib, and they let Brissett kind of throw them around for a little bit. Did you guys watch that game? Do you guys have any thoughts about that
I did watch
one?
that game, and it pains me to say, Jack, I'm in the same boat as you. Last week I said I was high on the Bengals. I said Joe Burrow was going to look good. I was wrong. It almost looked like they were like, oh, we're fine. We got more time. We got time. And they never ended up getting it going.
They never switched gears.
No.
did they?
Yeah,
I
exactly.
don't even think they got into gear ever.
No,
They're
they
fine.
might not have.
Yeah.
They might not have even started their car.
Yeah.
But my roommate is a huge Patriots fan. Shout out Ben. He was hyped, looking forward to NFL football. He was hyped watching that game, and he was hyped after the game. I have another roommate who is a Bengals fan. Sorry, Bo. But the Bengals didn't look good. Joe Burrow didn't look good, and I talked to a few of my buddies kind of after that game and even before the game. I was like, Joe Burrow still has a lot to prove. He has a lot to prove. He had a very good run to the Super Bowl. He's had some very good playoff games, but he has a ton to prove still.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I mean, you look at it. His rookie season was cut short due to injury. Last season was cut short due to injury. I think he's been in the league about 4 years,
He's
and
had
2
a
of
lot
his
of injuries.
seasons have been injuries. He's only had that Super Bowl run with 3 Tyler Boyd's the other wide receiver on the Titans, with 3 capable receivers in Tyler
Good
Boyd,
receiving
T.
core, you
Higgins,
said.
and Jamar Chase.
Tyler Boyd.
Tyler
Yeah.
Boyd
come on
is
now.
Third option on the Bengals. Which
On the
obviously-
Okay, we're
Bengals.
done. We're done talking about the
Yeah.
damn Titans. I'm not
saying-
doing this all day.
forever tight.
Joe Burrow got paid. That leaves a lot less cap room for them to be able to go sign other guys.
Yeah.
Jamar Chase, he is working to getting paid right now.
Do you think Jamar Chase was even wanting to play that game?
Honestly,
No.
I'm gonna be honest, no. 'Cause
No.
he didn't do anything.
He doesn't care right now. He doesn't have a deal.
Why would he?
He's not wanting to get hurt.
Yeah.
He got to make his money. He wants to get paid more than Justin
I get
Jefferson.
it. When everyone else is getting paid around you, you want to get paid.
Yeah.
But also, it's like, let's have a little bit of professionalism.
Well, yeah.
How many years does Jamar Chase still have? 2 years, right? Or am I crazy?
I think
What, a
he's.
year?
He's down to 1.
I think this is his.
Because he.
I don't think he's a free agent after this year. But they have a franchise tag on him, and they
So
have
it's
his
like-
5th-year option.
I get it, but like if you ask any old heads, they're gonna sit here. God damn it! God damn it! He's not even up for a new deal. But it's like, I'm low key kind of in their boat.
Yeah.
Play football.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
100% agree. I
Play
think
the damn game.
people, like, we saw, who was it, Debo Samuel, how he, or was it Brandon Ayuk? One of the two.
Ayuk.
It was Ayuk. They throw fit, and then it's like, okay, but at the end of the day, you're going to get paid regardless. And you're probably going to get paid more if, let's say, he went out there and he was like, you know what, it's whatever, it's money. Like, it's millions of dollars we're talking about here. It's millions of dollars, sometimes hundreds of millions.
Yeah.
Well, you see so many times too, like guys can just get one injury and they might never.
I
be the
understand
same.
why they do it. I really do.
Yeah.
Go get your money while you can. Especially the NFL stands for the not for long league. So it's like, go get it while you can. You might only have a few more times your contract's up and you're actually still relevant.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
like,
we can just become broadcasters, right?
Yeah.
We're in the NFL now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tom Brady.
No.
I
but
think we need to talk about that later. Sorry, I'm jumping in. I'm going to add that to the show.
Well, we are an hour long into it right now, so we're
we're
gonna
doing pretty
yeah,
good.
we
We're
might
not
gonna
on
have
a,
to
we're
really-
not on a time frame.
no.
We're all right.
Yep.
But I agree. I mean, like, I understand both sides. I understand these old people saying play the damn game. You're not up for a new contract. You play.
Yeah.
But I understand people that are like, hey, go get your money while you can. The NFL's not a long.
See,
it's
the
not-
thing is, the
You won't have
salary
it forever.
the salary cap's only going up, and
Yeah.
the Bengals want to be able to build another Super Bowl
Contending
worthy
team,
yeah.
yes.
And they're gonna need to be able to pay some guys on defense and on the O line to
Yeah.
be able to do that. I don't know their full salary cap thing right now, and I'm not gonna search it up because I simply do not care about the Cincinnati Bengals. but if they're paying Burrow, if they're gonna pay Burrow and Chase, who were both probably the number one, were or are going to be the number one paid players at their positions. I know Burrow isn't anymore, but he was at a time. Then they're not going to have money for the other spots. So Chase clearly doesn't want to be the team player, and he's not going to take a discounted deal. He wants to get paid more. Who on that Bengals team is going to get the pay cut? You know, they're going to have to start really, I mean, it's what all the good teams do. You have to really make your first 2-round picks, 3-round picks count.
Yeah.
And right now, the Bengals, I don't think they have a young guy other than Cam Taylor-Britt on defense that really takes over games. And Cam Taylor-Britt is going to have to start getting paid. I don't think he's going to break the bank or anything, but they're going to have to pay him.
It's definitely weird how that kind of works. You see it in the NBA too. Sorry, I'm referencing the NBA. I'm more of an NBA guy than an NFL
Hey, we
guy.
will be an NBA show eventually.
But you see it a lot there too. How, you know, teams are now, they have the hard cap. They have all these different things that they have to navigate. It's like Denver's losing the year before they lost Bruce Brown, and then this year they lose Kentavious Caldwell-Pope just because of how the salary cap works in the NBA.
Yeah.
And it's just weird to see how these professional organizations kind of deal with that. I'm sure we're going to get into that more as weeks come. But Jim Harbaugh, ex-Michigan coach, wins his first game. It wasn't a pretty game.
Before we get to that, how about the Jaguars, huh, Grant?
Here we go.
Oh, did I
talk
skip
about
the
that?
Jags? Oh, my
It's all right.
fault.
The Jaguars quit at halftime, so
Yeah,
I mean, Grant probably wishes that we just skipped
Yeah.
over the
Yeah.
Jaguars.
so
but
let's
talk about
let's
this.
just give them the mic here, sit back, and enjoy the show.
I will be short and sweet here. The Jaguars looked great against the Dolphins in the first half. Going into halftime, they had a 17-7 lead. I liked what I saw out of the first half. You know, Trevor Lawrence looked good. He was getting the ball to places. The run game, surprising. Tell me if I'm wrong here. Tank Bigsby.
My goat, Tank Bigsby.
Tank Bigsby. Honestly, he was the first and second down back for the Jaguars. And obviously, I think going into halftime, I was looking at their two stats, and I was like, obviously, Etienne had like a 3-yard goal line touchdown, and so his stats looked a little nicer with a touchdown on it. But Bigsby ran the ball well, and Bigsby also had, I think it was sometime in the second half, he had a huge run when we were down at the 5, and it would have been like, I think it was 95-yard touchdown if Gabe Davis blocked a guy, didn't, tackle. It happens. It's whatever. You can't expect your receivers to block 100% every single play. What I'm mad about is what we did in the second half. Again, highlighting the first half, Brian Thomas Jr., I think I saw something today on Twitter.
That's who you picked to be the offensive rookie
And
of the year, right?
Let me find this on Twitter.
He
real
played
quick.
really good, and the entire time I'm sitting here saying, "Damn it, Grant's."
I hate it when he's
Grant's
right.
gonna boast.
I hate it when he's right.
He played good until that goal line fumble. That was
Well,
the downfall.
That was ETN.
That was ETN.
Was that ETN?
That was ETN.
Okay.
Let me find this here. Okay.
Zone, non-ball,
Okay,
no.
Brian Thomas Jr. had the highest EPA per route of any rookie wide receiver in Week 1 since 2013.
Now,
Let me
can
read
you
some notable-
explain real quick to our casual viewers, because I definitely know what EPA is.
I know that.
Like if you don't know what EPA is, you're crazy. But maybe to the casual viewers, can you explain
those
what
idiots who don't know what
EPA is?
Expected points added. I did not search
Of
that
course,
up.
of course.
But anyways,
those casuals.
Let me tell you these notable names for these other receivers that he beat out. A.J. Brown, Jamar Chase, Cooper Kupp, Terry McLaurin, Kelvin Benjamin. He's the outlier there. I don't even know who that-
Benjamin,
That's so
Florida
wild,
State
yeah.
legend.
Philip Dorsett, Kenny Galladay.
Is this all-time list or
No,
something?
this is since 2013, but still, there's
Well,
Kenny Galladay's been in the league since 2013.
okay. But anyways, he looked great, and he had a touchdown. And speaking of that touchdown, I think Anthony Richardson and Trevor Lawrence's touchdown pass. Trevor Lawrence's was impressive. He threw that ball before he even knew where Brian Thomas Jr. was, and
but
he
you
beat the
can't
defense.
be comparing
F it,
that.
he's down there somewhere.
Whoa. Okay.
We'll put the highlights in. I'll edit
Anthony
this.
Richardson.
Anthony Richardson's. Did you see his touchdown?
His touchdown pass was awesome.
It was. I'm a Anthony Richardson hater,
Overhated.
and I will come out and say that was an insane throw, and that was a beautiful throw.
Yeah.
Did you compare
Pressure.
Trevor Lawrence's to it?
Yes.
Sorry, I'm
Okay.
not like questioning you. I'm just like I kind of spaced out. For a
I'm
little.
questioning him.
Okay. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence did not throw the ball like 50 yards in the air, but his placement on that he threw the ball like I've seen videos of people doing deep dives on it, and I can show you guys later. We can put it up on the stream.
Insert clip now.
Yeah.
What he did was he threw the ball basically like if Brian Thomas is running this way, he threw it there, and he beat the defense perfectly. It was a beautiful touchdown pass.
Threw him open.
Yeah, he threw him open. Yeah. What stings is what they did after halftime. They come out at halftime. They get the ball. I think. I don't know. It's been a while, but I'm pretty sure they got the ball.
Didn't they fumble the
Yes.
kickoff?
Okay, so yes. No, they didn't fumble the kickoff.
They fumbled something.
Yeah.
Well, I'll
goal
talk
line.
about that.
All right.
They got the ball at half, and they drive down the field, and I'm feeling good. I'm like, perfect. We're up 17-7. This is gonna look good. And ETN fumbles the ball into the end zone. That was the turning point, because after that, ETN did not look good. He kind of hung his head. There's a picture going viral where it says like touchdown Tyreek Hill after they responded with a huge touchdown throw, and he just looks pissed.
Yeah.
And then I don't know who's calling. Press Taylor calling plays. I don't even know what's going on. They're not. They didn't let Trevor Lawrence throw.
He's been bad.
He has been bad. But Brian Thomas Jr. did not get a single target in the second half.
I mean, who was on him though?
Jalen Ramsey. And
Yeah.
he
You're not
cooked
throwing
Jalen
on Ramsey.
Here's another thing in the first half. Brian Thomas Jr. ran a fade route.
He said short and sweet.
Sorry.
Yeah, we'll put a time at
just-
the end of this.
Just let him go. Just let him go.
Sorry.
He's
He
angry.
cooked Jalen Ramsey. And it was a terrible ball by Trevor Lawrence. I like Trevor Lawrence. It was so underthrown. And Brian Thomas Jr. went up. Pass interference called. Led to an ETN touchdown. Brian Thomas Jr. Obviously, Jalen Ramsey isn't the defender who he used to be. But
He's still
he got
good, though.
paid.
He's a
like,
vet.
Brian
Still
Thomas Jr. cooked him.
Yeah, but he's
Yeah.
gonna start. He might not have his step that he once had, but he's a vet and he's gonna know how to beat a rookie wide receiver. He's gonna have some tricks on
Brian
him.
Thomas Jr. I think, and what made
Okay.
it better
Well,
too
just
is
just keep going. Keep going.
what made it better too is Brian Thomas Jr. was talking his shit to him afterwards.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It was awesome. That video is awesome.
He might have
We
been
are
talking
not
shit,
getting-
but he was also after the game. I hope he's asking for his jersey. I hope they did a little jersey swap.
Oh, that'd be
because, I mean, not many times you get to go against Jalen Ramsey, and
No,
I'm sure
yeah.
Brian Thomas played so good.
Yeah.
Like,
And so, okay, I'm making this part short and sweet. Play calling, second half, didn't do what the Jaguars are meant to do, which is let Trevor Lawrence. You pay him all this money. Why are you not letting him do stuff? And the last thing I'm gonna touch
Overpaid.
he's
on
got
for
that
this
rookie
game.
leash.
Last thing.
Overpaid.
Okay.
That's
The last
another
thing I'm gonna
day.
touch on for this Jags game is 4th and 1 with probably I think 4 minutes left in the game, and they run a run play, which I don't like running on 4th and 1. I think the defense knows what's coming for the most part. I think better do a play action pass.
I think if you're a team that's gonna run the ball like the Ravens and you're not running it on 4th and 1, that says a lot about you. But if you're a team with speed like the Jaguars have, you got to find a way to get the ball
In
to
open
the
space,
outside.
yeah.
Give your guys some speed. Easier said than done, obviously, because the defense is gonna think the same thing. But
And that play call in that 4th and 1, like after they didn't get it, I was like, yeah, this is game. And like I was saying earlier, that hurt to watch. Watching the team when they look great, and then they drive down the field after halftime. I was feeling good, and they pissed it down their leg, and it's hard to watch. I talk too much. We're going to what? Jim Harbaugh?
We'll put a clip up of how long that actually took.
Sorry, guys.
I hope you guys don't mind. I'm just gonna do this Chargers talk all by myself.
Yeah, go for it.
Jim Harbaugh wins his first game. Chargers bad. Raiders bad. Cowboys, they blow out the Browns in week 1 in Cleveland. Sorry to any Chargers or Raiders fans that.
How about that brawl though?
I mean, the fight was cool.
Which one?
Yeah,
entertaining
on
part of
and
that
off
game.
the field.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool, but I think other than that game was a little bit of a snooze fest. I have Herbert in fantasy. Had Herbert in fantasy.
Don't do that.
Don't
do
start
that.
fantasy.
Yeah, he doesn't have very many weapons. Hopefully the Chargers. I think the Chargers are still going to be a good team, and I think Herbert is a very good quarterback.
Yeah.
He's not a very good fantasy quarterback, but I think he's a good quarterback. Hoping they can figure it out. And man, do I love Gardner Minshew.
Yep.
But those teams they don't really have eye-catching talent I like to watch.
You don't think either of them can compete for that AFC West title? You don't think they can hang with the Chiefs?
I think the Broncos are kind of more in their territory than they are the Chiefs' territory.
That's
okay.
yeah. There you go.
I think the Raiders and Chargers. I think they're closer to the Broncos.
It's gonna be a
than they are the
dogfight for
Chiefs.
second.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's gonna be a fight for second. I don't think they're gonna be competing for first.
Yeah,
but,
well, I mean, speaking of teams that fall up short, Dallas Cowboys, like you said, blowout win in Cleveland.
Yeah, dominated Cleveland, and I really like Big East basketball, and there's a reporter there, Mr. John Fanta, and he's a big Cleveland Browns fan, and he had a tweet kind of going viral on Sunday saying the Browns need to scrap it. They need to scrap Deshaun Watson. They need to find somewhere else, and I couldn't help but think about him looking through this Cowboys play or looking through this Cowboys thing we got on our sheet right here.
Mm-hmm.
Cowboys looked real good. But it doesn't help when the Browns don't do anything.
I was about to say it's easy to look really good against a really bad team.
And the question about the Cowboys is they didn't really make any additions in the offseason.
Mm-hmm.
They only technically got worse. I don't know.
But they were all in, though.
They had more departures than additions. They didn't really do anything to get better after falling up short.
Back.
Yeah,
He's hurt, but
but that's not an addition.
They lose it was the year Diggs was out. Darius Bland, is that?
He's good, yeah.
But he got hurt. He's out, I think.
I mean, and their tight end gets hurt in that game too.
Yeah, Jake Ferguson.
Yeah, Jake Ferguson.
But yeah, like I was saying, the Cowboys didn't really make any additions in the offseason. Yes, they're a great regular season team. How are they going to do in the postseason? They lost to the Packers last year.
Like they always do.
Yeah.
I don't like talking about playoff stuff in week 2, but I just don't know. I wish CeeDee Lamb got more targets, but that's kind of a selfish reason. They were blowing the team out. I understand. Dak Prescott got his huge paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're just kind of waiting, and we don't really know what's going to happen to Dallas until the playoffs kind of come around. I think they're going to make it.
Jerry seems content with the team he has right now, and the problem with that is the team he has.
But how good did they actually look? We won't know until.
Well, Deshaun Watson can't throw a football.
No.
Oh, his fall off should be studied.
Yeah.
Well, that brings it into our next point.
Yes.
Grant, you want to take that?
Who has it worse right now? Daniel Jones or Deshaun Watson? We're going to go around. We'll ask Tyler, Jack, Trevor, and then I'll chime in. But just say who you think has it worse and why.
Okay.
Are we talking about as a fan or are we talking about as
a quarterback?
As a player. So we're the player.
No. Who's the
We're
worst
for
quarterback?
college
Who sucks more?
Okay.
Who do you not want to have on your team?
Mm-hmm.
I guess who would you rather have out of them two?
Okay. You go.
No PR with it, because obviously I wouldn't want Deshaun Watson on my team. But Deshaun Watson, you knew it was going to be a bit of a shaky start because his shoulder was shattered and he had to get surgery on it. He didn't play in the preseason, and he's going against one of the top defenses in the NFL. Daniel Jones, on the other hand, ruins the quarterback market because for some reason the New York Giants paid Daniel Jones over Saquon Barkley.
I think there needs to be an investigation on that.
Yeah.
I think there's got to be something.
Daniel Jones has some dirt on the GM and the owner.
What does Danny Jones know that we don't? Because there's something.
That dude, I feel bad for Neighbors. He's going to be rotting for a while. Shador Sanders, you, my friend, might be a New York Giant.
Well, okay, going
Or
back to what
Quinn
you said
Ewers.
about Neighbors. Did you see what Neighbors said?
I did not.
So they interviewed him. They're like, "What do you think about Dan Jones?" And he said, obviously I'm paraphrasing this quote. I don't remember it completely, but he said, "Honestly, I couldn't even tell you what's going on back there."
Yep.
And as a wide receiver 2 before during the draft,
He's
they
their-
said no.
Yeah.
Wide receiver 1, but
He was a top prospect.
Yeah. To have your top prospect wide receiver say that about your quarterback, like that's gotta hurt.
They're unretiring
Yeah.
the jersey for that wide receiver.
They unretired a jersey for him, so they think he's gonna be good. I think he is gonna be great if he gets someone else.
I mean, the biggest question mark is why did the Giants double down on Daniel Jones?
Yeah.
That's like going in with a 7-2 split in poker.
Yeah,
Why would
yeah.
you do that?
I mean, like, you knew it was bad, and then you're just like, no, it's not.
And it
Yeah.
feels like they maybe want him as more of a game manager, but they don't have the pieces around him to be able to have him manage the game. So instead, you are having Daniel Jones have to go out and be a playmaker, have to go out and be like a Trevor Lawrence, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, go and create plays. Yeah, I threw Trevor Lawrence in there for you.
I'm hyped.
But you're having Daniel Jones be the leader of this offense and have to go create plays when he doesn't have playmakers, and you don't do him any favors because you don't re-sign Saquon Barkley.
But like you said, I think I would rather have someone who maybe can make something of a team when he does have playmakers. I mean, he didn't.
But can he?
We don't know, and that's the thing. I'd rather have someone who's questionable over someone who has a shattered arm
did.
and looks like he's made of
I
like
would
a
take.
rough
I would
statue.
They did beat
Danny
the,
Jones too.
Yeah.
They did beat the Vikings a couple years back in the playoffs, didn't they? Or they had a playoff win recently.
I
Are
would
you
take.
talking about like Odell Beckham's?
No,
Or
way
like-
more recent than that with Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
that
would-
wasn't that the year where next year they gave him that big contract, right?
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, that would
They
make
beat
sense.
the Vikings by running the ball though, and then they go and pay Daniel Jones. It doesn't make sense to me.
I would still rather have Daniel Jones. I just don't know if Deshaun Watson is the same quarterback he was before his incident and then his shoulder. So
Yeah.
Incidents. He's getting sued again.
So, Trevor, what do you have to say?
Same thing I kind of said earlier. I think I take Daniel Jones over Deshaun Watson solely because I feel like there's like an unknown entity of like maybe when he does have some actual players around him that can like make plays for him, maybe he is okay.
My counterpoint to that is the Browns only have right now, because they don't have Chubb. Right now they only have Amari Cooper and Njoku, and Njoku got hurt.
Well,
Is
Deshaun
Jarvis
Watson-
Landry still on that team?
Jarvis,
is so random,
You're
but-
talking Jarvis Landry
That was a crazy
in the
switch.
big
Jarvis Landry was
there when
2024.
Odell
That was
The
man.
last time I saw Jarvis Landry was
That's
when
an-
he was on the Browns with Odell Beckham.
That's an NFL. I think he went to the Saints,
I think he did. Too.
but that's an NFL grid
Yeah,
thing right
well,
there.
yeah.
That's
He's
a
free-
rarity
he's a
score
free
poll.
agent right now.
So
Yeah, so he's
done.
officially retired.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I think I know what you're saying, but at least Daniel Jones can. I'd rather have someone who throws interceptions rather than someone who can't throw it all.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Take
I
Daniel
am gonna
Jones, too.
disagree with you on that. I'd rather throw an incompletion than an interception because otherwise the Titans would have won last
But
week.
Deshaun Watson did throw interceptions.
Yes.
Here-
He did.
Here's what I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with Deshaun Watson because you don't need.
You'd rather have Deshaun
yes,
Watson?
I'd rather have Deshaun Watson purely because, obviously, he's still able to throw the ball. Like obviously, he's not gonna be able to throw it as hard as he can, but
He's still kind of rusty too. Like
Yeah,
He's coming. He didn't get a preseason,
Right,
and you
like-
saw what he could do with the Texans. He's obviously a little older, and he's
Yep.
way more beat up than he was then. But
what I'm thinking is, we've seen it before in history, like the Saints, Drew Brees. I'm not comparing the two at all, but Drew Brees could not throw the ball at all. He's had interviews where he's like before games, like, I was like
at the
it
end of his
hurt to throw the
career?
ball. Yeah,
Yeah.
it hurt to throw the ball, but he still got it done. You don't need to have an Anthony Richardson type arm or a Patrick Mahomes type arm. You don't. As long as you can get the ball to players, and obviously, yeah, it would help to have an arm. But especially when Chubb comes back, I would rather have Deshaun Watson than Daniel Jones because Daniel Jones looks lost as a quarterback. He looks confused when he steps
he's
on the
seeing
field.
ghosts.
Yeah.
Like, no, he is. Like, I've seen some of his throws, and I'm like, what were you thinking there?
Yeah.
Who on your offense was open that you were trying to get this ball to?
Odell out there somewhere.
Yeah.
And Odell's not even on the team. The problem is Odell's on the other team, and he's still trying to get it to Odell.
Yeah.
He's thrown to the sidelines sometimes.
No, he throws it to the defenders, and they take it.
Yeah.
So just real quick, don't have to explain because I think our discussion's gone on long enough. Trevor, Daniel Jones, Deshaun Watson. Who'd you rather have?
Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones.
Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun Watson.
All right,
We'll
a
agree
perfect
to
split.
We'll
Perfect
agree to
split on the
disagree
pod.
right there. We have some other things to talk about. Dak Prescott got a big new deal. Is this the future of NFL quarterbacks or contracts? And I'm just going to kind of say yes.
Yeah.
I feel like that's just where the league's headed, and the league
Who-
makes a lot of money as it is. So I think right now they can kind of afford to pay players this kind of money.
Who do
What were
you
gonna
think?
say?
Who do you think is the next quarterback to get paid? Then I don't know the deals or anything.
Yeah, I don't
but
know who's really
I know
up.
this-
I know Jimmy Garoppolo's up.
This free agency class
Why would
sucks
you
for
even mention
quarterbacks.
Jimmy
Yeah.
Garoppolo? Let's talk about
Yeah.
quarterback
All I
extension.
know is
Raiders,
all I
he's
know is
backup.
All I know is Jimmy Garoppolo is a free agent, and I don't think there's a very good free agency class. So
No, it's
I don't know
going
what
through the
contract.
draft.
I don't know what contracts look like right now, but
Like, do you think any
but this
quarterback
is going to
anytime soon
increase. Yeah,
beats Dak on that deal? Do you think
CJ
it finally stops?
Yeah, this
I
is
think obviously.
Yeah, but he's
Yeah.
got 3
Yeah,
years.
I know. But like I'm saying, the
But
next
this is going to
quarterback,
continue. The next quarterback, the next good quarterback who's up is going to get a deal similar to Dak's, and if not more than Dak's, and that's what happens. It happens in the NBA. It's going to happen in the NFL.
And
Yeah.
there's been some discussion, at least locally at KU, and I'm not going to name names because I think it's a stupid discussion, but they were talking about what if the NFL creates a quarterback salary cap separate from the team salary cap.
I remember talking about this with somebody too. I just don't. see
Oh,
that.
I think I can name them after the podcast,
I
but
just
I'm not
don't
going to name
think
them on it.
that's in the works.
No, I don't like that. It's.
I think we have
it
a better
kinda-
chance of
it's-
seeing pigs fly.
That's
yeah.
the whole point of a
I was about
GM is
say,
to
yeah.
manage those
On
deals.
top of the fact that it kind of destroys the purpose of the salary cap in the first
Yep.
place. You know.
Yep.
Monday Night Football happened last night. 49ers took on the Jets, and the 49ers won
Mhm.
handily
Very convincingly.
without Christian McCaffrey. What are your guys' thoughts, takeaways, quickly from that
Yeah,
game?
so I'll be quick here. I think the 49ers were expected to win that game. We all picked the 49ers. They
We
went
thought
out.
they'd have McCaffrey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
But I
Yeah,
don't think
too.
that matters
Impressive.
when you have a hungry guy as his backup who has been
Wants to prove
overshadowed by
himself, yeah.
McCaffrey, who wants a chance to play. He's going to go out and play. And really, I think I could get 5 yards behind that San Francisco offensive line.
Yeah.
They are great.
They were
They are a
creating
great
gaps left
O-line.
and right.
was-
It was awesome.
So-
to watch.
it was a great game.
The 49ers went out and they did what they were expected to do, and that's great and all. The big, and we don't have to answer it right now, but the big thing is why, like, the Mason, I think his last name is, maybe I'm butchering it, I'm slow, I'm sorry, said that he was told that he was going to start on Friday. Shanahan says no, he was told that, like, right before the game. Why do you think, I personally believe that he was told Friday, and the whole game plan was Christian McCaffrey was not going to start. They knew that he wasn't 100% and they didn't want to risk it. Why are NFL teams lying about injuries right before the game?
Because I mean, let's say they did know on Friday, and you're saying the player said he knew Friday, but the coach
Yes.
said no, we didn't say it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think purely because the Jets probably had Christian McCaffrey circled
Yeah.
on their team.
Every
This
team
is their
would have
best player.
Christian
We're gonna
McCaffrey circled.
Game plan towards him.
Yep.
And then obviously, like, yeah, they're gonna game plan as soon as Christian McCaffrey's not in. Do you still focus everyone on their
The run.
Well,
backup running back,
it's
or do you
clear
start-
that they should have. I mean, if they had that game plan for Christian McCaffrey, that backup running back shouldn't have done what he did. He went for
Yeah.
over 100
Yeah,
I
yards
think-
and a touchdown.
I think that's a simple answer right there.
Yeah.
You know, I think obviously there's probably some other things. Maybe I'm wrong, but I do think
And
it's
It's-
kind of a slimy move. I think
it is slimy, and it's against the NFL rules. You
Yep.
have to have a clear injury report heading into your game, but it's not been enforced in recent
And
years.
I think there's been a lot of teams that have kind of gotten away with
Oh,
that.
it's a very
yeah,
common theme.
absolutely.
It's a very common thing.
So I'm not gonna really punish Shanahan right here.
No,
for
but
saying
do you
that,
think
but,
the
like,
league ever does?
I
'Cause
feel like I don't know. I feel like if this continues to be a habit, something's gonna happen. But we all know like no actions are ever done until something happens.
it's probably the NFLPA
So,
that's going to have to step
yeah.
in and
Yeah.
create something.
I agree right there. Definitely not a good look
Yeah.
for the 49ers,
No.
but again, nothing's gonna happen until something's done.
Yep.
Do you guys want to quickly go over NFL predictions for next week?
One thing before you go, and then I'll turn it over to you, Grant. I know after the game, Salah was getting interviewed by the media, and they asked him a question. Do you feel better being 0-1 this year after week 1 than 1-0 last year, obviously, because they lost Aaron Rodgers? And Salah says yes, absolutely, because you still
I
have Aaron
would.
Rodgers.
Yeah.
What do you guys? How do you guys feel about that? Is there anything? Do you like maybe disagree with Salah?
I don't like losing.
Yeah.
Like, but that's like if that's what everyone's gonna say is why the hell would you like losing?
Yeah.
But you keep Rodgers. Garrett Wilson looked pretty good.
They couldn't get him the ball.
No,
They
I
couldn't
think-
get him the ball, but when they did, like Aaron Rodgers is gonna love
Yeah.
Garrett Wilson.
He already
Yeah.
does.
Oh, yeah.
I was
And, like-
looking to him it looked like I didn't watch much of the game, but it looked like every time he snapped the ball, he was immediately his first eyes were.
And
secure.
so
Obviously,
I
that's what
think
you're gonna do as
they're
your best
gonna
player.
be that's gonna be one hell of a duo.
Yeah.
And I think you're not killing yourself after
No.
week one.
And-
So
and on
I
top
don't
of-
think what he said was that bad.
No, I don't either. And I think on top of it, I mean, Rodgers didn't look half bad. He didn't.
Oh, no?
He was throwing. He looked.
It's hard to look like an MVP when Nick Bosa is trying to take. your
Yeah,
head
it
off.
really
Yeah,
is.
yeah,
Also,
exactly.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is all that.
I mean, he's
He's
old.
40.
He's not what
Yeah.
he was.
Obviously,
He's
I
not
don't
what he
want
was.
to be my
But
father.
can he manage the Jets' offense and make the young players better?
Yes.
Absolutely.
He
No
didn't show
doubt.
it.
Well,
They
it's
played the
it's
49ers.
They could have won the Super
Like
Bowl.
they're
They were.
Still.
they're
They
probably
probably
everyone's
won this
favorite
year.
to win the Super
Yeah.
Bowl.
Yeah.
Okay, real quick before we go into the schedule,
Yes.
did you guys watch Tom Brady announce it? Quickly, what do you think?
Yeah,
Um,
you wanted to talk about this. Let's talk about it.
I think, you probably have more to say on this because you're asking the question. I think he sounded good. My bold prediction for this NFL season is that he's going to become a player by week 4.
What?
Yep. He's going to go back to the field by week
Okay.
4. Giselle is not there to tell him no anymore.
Get your fantasy crap out
Yeah.
of here. We don't
I
need
drafted
to hear
him
We
with
don't
the
need to
Mr.
hear.
Irrelevant pick in fantasy this year.
I heard a lot of mixed reviews about him. What I'm not gonna say about Tom Brady in general, but just announcers is there's a lot of announcers now that know the game a lot more than us casual fans, which is great insight information if that's what you want. But I kind of miss just the entertaining
Yes.
broadcasters.
Yes.
The broadcasters who makes your hair stand up when a play happens. I miss that. I feel like Tom Brady was highlighting a lot of things, being like, watch out for him coming off the edge. Great insight, Tom Brady. Like, great insight.
So you're saying he's a less entertaining Tony Romo.
He's doing too much.
I feel like
Tony-
he's just
yeah,
doing
he's-
too much quarterback talk.
Yeah.
Being like, here's what I see.
that was-
Watch this guy coming off the edge. And if that's his job, if that's what he's getting paid to do,
Yeah.
do it. But I like my entertaining broadcasters. I miss that in all sports.
Honestly,
Yeah.
Jack, to piggyback off what you said, I think. Tell me if I'm wrong, but I think he kind of took away from the game a little,
Yeah.
going a little too much in depth. Because I think he was the color.
Yes, he was the color.
I
and-
think there was times
yeah.
where he took away where like he's over explaining something, and I'm sitting there listening, and play is going on, and I'm like, oh,
But what I will say is he's damn educated. Every time he said something, it almost happened.
There's no one that knows football. Tom Brady has forgotten more about football than we will ever know.
Yeah.
And that's just the truth.
I think as it goes on, he's gonna get better. Obviously, talking in front of however many people, millions of people were watching, that's got to be. Obviously, Tom Brady should be a little bit. I think he's gonna get better. I'm excited for it, but
Yeah.
I do think,
And I
like you
think-
said, Jack.
Should be neat.
Like you're saying, he might be over-explaining the game a little bit. I think that was an issue with Tony Romo early on, where he was predicting the plays and stuff, and the network kind of came in and was like, hey, you're taking away from the game here. Like, we love you. You're doing a great job at explaining to a casual fan what's going on in the game. But kind
Almost
of
let
take
the casual fan experience it.
yeah, like kind of let the quarterbacks be quarterbacks, and you just explain when it's time to
Like
explain.
Tom Brady, I don't want to know he's going to get sacked before the play just because you see it.
Yep.
Um,
Right.
I will if I'm betting on the game, though, Tom.
Yeah, it's a tough thing. Paul George did it in the NBA Finals. He was asked to come on and do a little bit of broadcasting stuff and at the halftime show, and he said it was really hard for him because his first time on air, he wanted to throw a bunch of numbers.
Yeah.
And he was like, those guys who've done it long enough looked at me and they're like, Paul, you know basketball. Just talk basketball. It's like it's a lot easier to do that, and I feel like Tom Brady's definitely going to get better. Thursday night football, we have Bills at Miami. Quick fire like we did last week. Who do you guys have?
Give me the Dolphins.
I'll take the Dolphins too.
I like the Dolphins as well.
I'll take Dolphins.
Kind of surprised we're all unanimous there.
Yeah.
Yay!
I just don't think.
I think that's a
look
close.
good.
I think that's a close
It'll be a
game.
close one.
I have some money on that, so you
It's
know.
a fun game.
Yep.
So now I'm gonna start with the noon games.
Yep.
Actually, because I know my ass is gonna forget it. I'm gonna start with the Broncos game. They play the Steelers in Denver. Who do you guys have?
Oh, what night is that?
Sunday.
This is Sunday. Games.
Okay.
Sunday
Say
at
that again. I'm sorry, I
3:25.
completely blanked.
Steelers at Denver.
Oh, give me the Steelers.
I'm gonna take the Denver. or Denver Broncos. I think
Denver.
the Denver. I think the Broncos get their first win.
Yeah, you're picking with your heart there, buddy. I'm going with the Steelers behind Justin Fields.
Dude, are they one of the more slept-on teams? They still have an elite defense, and their offense, I think, got a little bit better than what it was in the years
Justin
past.
Fields had what, 6 scoring drives?
I don't know.
Like,
I didn't watch that game.
I know. I don't think Justin Fields had a touchdown, but I think he led scoring drives. Yeah, they scored 18 points. That's 6 field goals.
Who won that game, right?
The Steelers.
Yeah, Steelers.
They were the underdogs, too.
I think the Falcons underperformed.
Okay.
Jumping off a little off track, I think they underperformed.
I think everyone's
I agree.
overlooking the Steelers' defense.
Uh-huh.
Kirk Cousins.
The Steelers' defense is really good.
Yep.
I'm still gonna pick with my heart. Go
Yeah.
Broncos.
All right, you want to take
I'm
us?
gonna
Sorry.
go Steelers.
All
I
right.
think the
Yeah.
Steelers are going to get it.
So 3
us to that noon
Steelers, 1
slate.
Denver. I guess that's not bad. Now we're gonna go off to the noon slate. So we have a lot of good games in the noon slate. We're starting it off over in. Sorry, I lost my week.
Here, I can take it for you. The New Orleans Saints are at the Dallas Cowboys. Who we got?
Cowboys.
Cowboys.
Cowboys. That's
Yeah.
no brainer. Saints did look good though. Saints look good against the Panthers.
They don't
It's
look
the
bad,
Panthers,
but it's the Panthers.
but they blew them out.
Yeah.
They blew them out. Tampa Bay is at Detroit. Give me the Lions. Think that's close. Baker's good, but give me the Lions.
I'm gonna take the Lions. I'm not overlooking it. I'm gonna take the Lions, but man, I love Baker Mayfield.
Yep.
Agree.
It's hard not to. Yeah, I'm gonna go Lions as well.
Yay!
3 for 4. Oh.
I'm going to go Lions, but yes.
Yeah.
I thought you said that.
I do think the Buccaneers are a good team. I think it's going to be a good game.
I think
It'll
they'll
be
make the playoffs again.
Well, I mean,
feel like-
it's the NFC South.
Yeah.
But like I feel
Who
like we
else in
always
there?
just overlook Baker Mayfield, and he's like a good quarterback.
He
I
was
don't know.
not the
Yeah.
problem in Cleveland. I
No,
will
he
stand
was
on that
not.
forever.
No, he
Well, if
wasn't.
Trey Palmer wakes up feeling pissed off that day, you know the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to win a game.
100%.
We have the Anthony Richardson-led Colts going against the Malik Willis-led Green Bay Packers in Lambeau. Give me the Colts on an upset pick. Green Bay doesn't have their quarterback. Simple as that.
I'm gonna take the Colts too. I wanted to be a little cheeky and take the Packers, but Malik Willis is not gonna be able to get it done.
Yeah. I'm kind of with you, except I don't think it's a real hot take. I mean, I'm kind of expecting the Colts to go in there and win that game, especially like you said. I mean, Jordan Love's out, so.
In Indianapolis, the Colts are 3-point favorites on the road.
Again, I think this is another close game. I think Week 2 has a lot of close games. I don't want to say the Colts, but with Packers losing their quarterback, I'm going to go Colts.
Yeah.
I don't think Green Bay's defense is good enough to make up for the lack of quarterback like the Steelers' defense in years past has.
Yeah.
Moving on, we have the Jets. First real game. You know,
Yeah.
They weren't beating the 49ers. They are going to Tennessee to take on Will Levis-led Titans. Give me the Jets.
I'm gonna take the Jets as well.
I mean, it's not hard to figure out what I'm going to pick here after seeing Will Levis for 60 minutes. I'm going with the Jets.
Give me the Jets.
Yay! What are we? 5 for 5 right now?
I
5
thought
for
we had one.
6. I picked the
Yeah.
Broncos.
Oh, well, yeah, that happens. San Francisco's at Minnesota. Give me the Niners.
Give me the Niners.
Give me the Niners.
Niners.
Yay! If San Francisco cannot beat Sam Darnold.
They've
That's
got an
just
issue
insane.
on their hands.
Now, Sam Darnold, though, was a former 49er. He might kind of be
Yeah.
able to help out the
Also,
team.
He
Don't
didn't
think
look-
it's enough.
He didn't look that awful.
He
at the
looked
Vikings. Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
I mean,
But-
it helps when you have Justin Jefferson, but still.
Jordan Addison got hurt, so now it's
Yep.
only Justin Jefferson.
Mhm.
I think it's going to be...
Mr. Popular over here.
My fault.
I do think the Vikings are going to put up a fight.
Yeah.
I'm still going to go Niners.
Yep. We have Seattle at New England. You know what? I think the Patriots are going 2-0.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think they're going 2-0 as well. I mean, I liked them. They looked good against the Bengals.
They did, and Seattle didn't look that great against the Broncos.
No.
They won the game, but I think in New England, Patriots should get that one.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Patriots too. I really do think Brissett is a game manager type esque. So I'm gonna go Patriots.
And
You're
we're
not
gonna
like me for this one?
we're gonna have to pause the podcast real quick because I don't know if it's recording.
It is.
It is.
Is it?
Okay.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
good.
trust me, you're
Okay.
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 I got you.
You're not going to like me for this one. I'm going to ruin the streak. I'm going to go Seahawks.
Mm.
I think
Okay.
the Patriots win against the Bengals was a fluke.
Hmm.
Honestly, because I still can't tell you. I mean, I could tell you maybe a few players on the Patriots offense, but like,
Yeah, I get where you're coming
I
from.
think it was I think the Bengals lost that game more than the Patriots won it, but I think now the Patriots
and it's in Foxborough.
Ever
yeah,
since-
that's true.
since Tom left the Patriots have not known how to win games. They go get a big win against Cincinnati, a AFC Championship contender. they now kind of are starting to figure out how to win games.
Mm-hmm.
Seahawks haven't looked great. I'm not really sold on Geno Smith.
Hmm.
I think the Patriots have it.
Yep.
I think they have it in them. We go now. The New York Giants at Washington.
Ooh.
I'm never going to bet on Daniel Jones. So give me the Commanders. I think Daniel Jones will lose his job by the end of the season.
Give me the Commanders.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
not a hard one. Give me the
Yep.
Commanders.
And the Commanders, I mean, they played okay against a good Buccaneers defense. They didn't win the game, but Jaden Daniels did look good.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He
Did well on
I'm
my fantasy team.
going to take the Commanders as well.
Yeah.
Yay! Los Angeles Chargers at Carolina. Give me Jim Harbaugh going 2-0, as much as it pains me to say it.
Yeah, I'm going to also take the Chargers.
Yeah,
Yep.
I mean, that may be the easiest game of the slate on Sunday. Give me
I
the
think
Chargers.
Bryce Young is going to look better, though.
I hope
Yeah.
I hope the Panthers do better, but
They're still good.
do you
Yeah.
think, I mean, it's the NFL. Do you think the Chargers are better than the Saints? Do you think the Chargers are better than the Saints?
No.
Those are two pretty
No.
even teams right there.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't
They're
know.
both 1-0.
Yeah.
The Jaguars are
0-1.
yeah.
I'm still going to take the Chargers.
Yeah.
I'm going to take Chargers.
I'm hoping Carolina can keep it close. But yay! All right, next up we have Cleveland going to Jacksonville. This will be a tough game because Myles Garrett is not
Mhm.
easy to block.
Yeah.
And the
Jags O-line is not good.
yeah, and Cleveland has a good defense. I think Jacksonville wins because Cleveland's offense hasn't quite figured itself out yet.
Yeah.
I think Deshaun Watson hopefully looks better.
I don't think he doesn't look
I'm going to take Jacksonville.
Yep.
I feel like the Browns can win this game, but I'm going to take Jacksonville.
As much as I'd love to see the Browns win the game and see you in shambles after going 0-2, I mean,
This does
You
seem
wouldn't
like
see me on the third episode of the podcast.
this does seem like a game where
This kind of feels like a trap game.
yeah, like
I'm
you
saying
talk
it
about
does.
upsets in the NFL. It's a very like all of these guys are getting paid big money,
Yeah.
and it's not as big of upsets as college football.
Mhm.
This seems like an upset game though, where Cleveland can go and beat the Jaguars because I feel like the Jaguars have way more expectations
yeah,
than the Browns.
Yeah.
I agree.
I'm obviously going to go Jaguars. What I do think, though, is you look last week with the Browns and Cowboys. The Cowboys D-line, I forget who it was Parsons and some other dude destrojed the Browns O-line.
Yeah.
I think going into this week, Josh Hins-Allen and Trayvon Walker are going to
Trayvon Walker looked good.
Trayvon Walker, I didn't get a touch on it. He looked good. No, that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to hold myself back.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
we'll move on. Yay! The Las Vegas Raiders take on the Baltimore Ravens. I think we all are gonna go Ravens here.
Yeah, I'm
unless-
going
Yeah, I don't even think we gotta
Yeah.
go around.
Yeah, all right, yay. Los Angeles Rams at Arizona. Give me the Rams.
I'll take the Rams.
Give me the Rams.
Say it. Say it with your chest.
The Rams look good.
Say it with your chest.
Yeah.
But the Cardinals,
So say Cardinals.
Yeah,
bro.
just
say Cardinals.
Rams.
Yay! Now it'll be the Cardinals. We already got Pittsburgh and Denver, so we're gonna go Cincinnati at KC. Give me the Chiefs.
I'm going to take the Chiefs, too.
Chiefs. Yeah.
Just say it. Just say it with your chest.
I'm going to go Bengals
Boo!
purely because I think, like we said, they lost week one, and it was more
They
of their
can't
loss.
possibly
They got T.
put-
Higgins
be-
back.
And they can't
Presumably.
possibly
Or
play
no.
just as bad, right?
No,
Like,
no way.
I think I could see the Chiefs winning. I'm not saying the Chiefs have no chance. I could honestly flip a coin here for this game,
Yeah.
for me,
Mhm.
honestly. But I think the Bengals still high on them. If they lose this week,
If it helps, the
Might
Chiefs.
be
I think
upset
the
bandwagon.
Chiefs are 6-point favorites.
I think the Chiefs are going to win just because it's a home game.
Yep.
yeah. Oh,
If
I
it was
didn't-
in,
means-
if it was
it
in
means-
Cincinnati, maybe I would pick the Bengals.
It
but
means
like,
a lot more to these players at Arrowhead now because of the whole Burrowhead narrative that was
Yeah.
thrown around a while ago.
I'm changing
and
my
so-
answer. But I'm going Chiefs.
Yay! All right, and then
Sunday
the
night.
Sunday night game, the Chicago Bears take on the Houston Texans in Houston. Give me the Texans.
I'm taking the Texans.
Yeah.
Say it. Say the Bears. Be different. Bet on your guy. Bet on your guy.
You know what? Screw it. I'll bet on my guy. Give me the Bears.
Oh
Yeah!
hell no! I'm going Texans.
Texans are winning that game. Probably won't be close.
No.
Speaking of games that won't be close, Atlanta takes on Philadelphia in Philadelphia. Give me the Eagles.
I'm going to take the Eagles.
Yeah, Eagles.
Give me the Eagles.
All right, yay!
Yeah.
All right, is that
Yeah, that
is
should,
that everything?
that should
That's
be
going to
it.
wrap
Wow.
up
of a
the
longer
second
show.
episode of the B Team Sports Podcast. It was a very fun week, and We will be back next week to recap college football and some more
Um,
NFL.
Yeah, and then I would guess the only thing I have to really say is make sure you go like and follow our social medias. We have a TikTok and Instagram. We'll put them up on the screen right now.
Yep.
And if you're watching on YouTube, which you have to be watching on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe. And then, if you really feel like it, turn on some post notifications, even though that's going to go off at midnight for you.
Well, I really enjoyed hanging out with you guys for
it's been
a
a
few
pleasure.
hours.
Had a blast.
It's been all right.
Yeah, we'll see you guys soon. Thank you guys for listening.